pharmacological actions of this atropinic drugs, and we did about the pharmacokinetics and about the uses as well. And this uses is just the revision of previous class. So it is used as anti-secretory. It can be used as anti-secretory because it reduces all the secretions from the body, so it can be used as pre-anesthetic medication. So when surgery is being carried out, you don't want your patient to salivate or to increase the SCL secretion in the stomach. So it is used as a pre-anesthetic medication because it decreases the secretion. And since it reduces the production of the hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and other gastric enzymes and acid in the stomach, they can be used in the treatment of the peptic ulcer as well as the gastritis. And because this anticholinergic group of drugs, they decreases the contraction of the visceral muscle, so they can be used or they causes the relaxation of this visceral muscle. They can be used during the excessive contraction, which can be known as colics or cramps as well. So it can be used as in intestinal colics or renal colics or abdominal cramps, and they only provide symptomatic relief. They don't treat the underlying cause of this spasm, colics, or the excessive contraction of this visceral muscles. And they also do reduces the urinary frequency and urgency, and hence can be used in the person who are having increased urinary frequency and urgency. And they can be used for this reason. They can be also used in the children who are more prone for bedwetting at night. And they cause the relaxation of the smooth muscles. This is present in the bronchioles, or they to cause the bronchodilation, and hence they can be used in the treatment of patients who are suffering from the bronchial asthma and the COPD. Similarly, this anticholinergic group of drugs are used to dilate the pupil and to paralyze the ciliary muscles, which can aid in the examination of total internal structure of the eye and for the to know the correct refractive error. So they can be used as mydriatic and cycloplasic, but atropine has long-lasting effect. So usually atropine is not used as a mydriatic and cycloplasic drug. So alternative of these atropinic drugs like homatropine, cyclopentolate, and tropicamide is used because they do have the shorter duration of action. So these drugs are used as a mydriatic and cycloplasic drug. And in children, usually this tropicamide, although they are very much used in adults, the tropicamide don't cause the good cycloplasia in children. So the atropine is used in case of children. So they causes the tachycardia, they increases the heart rate, and hence they can be used in the treatment of the patients who are suffering from the bradycardia or decreased heart rate. And obviously, since it is an anticholinergic drug, they can be used for the treatment when there is the overdose or poisoning of the cholinergic drug. So to antagonize the muscarinic effects of drugs and poisons, especially the physostigmine, or it can be used in other cholinergic drug poisoning as well. And for central action like Parkinsonism, because Parkinsonism is also, apart from the decrease in dopamine level, Parkinsonism is also related to increase in cholinergic receptors or acetylcholine level. So these anticholinergic drugs can be used for the treatment of Parkinsonism apart from the dopaminergic drugs or dopaminergic acids. And for the motion sickness, another anticholinergic drug, which name is hyoscine or scopolamine, they are mainly the drug of choice for the treatment of the motion sickness, and they are used prophylactically. So before starting the journey, half an hour to 1 hour before starting the journey, and they are usually placed as transdermal patch behind the pin of the ear, or the oral capsules, oral tablets of this hyoscine is also available. So continuing with the anticholinergic drug, we are moving towards the side effects of the anticholinergic drug. So these are all the correlation of what we have read in last class or today's class as well. So just imagine what are the, so obviously these side effects of anticholinergic drug or atropinic drug will be just opposite to that of the cholinergic drug, and it occurs as a result of blockade or inhibition of the muscarinic receptors. So just think what are the side effects of acetylcholine and its congeners. So the opposite thing will be the side effects of anticholinergic drug or the atropinic drug. Because there is decrease in the salivations, the patient will be suffering from the dry mouth, and due to the dry mouth, due to decrease in the salivary secretion, there will be difficulty in swallowing as well as talking, and there is a decrease in sweating as well, and hence the patient will be having the dry and hot skin. So because sweating helps in maintaining the temperature, so there will be the dry skin, hot skin, and because there is an inhibition of sweating, and fever, this can lead to the fever. And atropine fever is most commonly present when atropine overdose occurs in the children. So difficulty in micturition will be there, because the relaxation of the muscles that is present in the bladder, whereas the sphincters are also closed. So there will be difficulty in voiding, and there will be difficulty in micturition, there will be difficulty in urination. So difficulty in micturition or difficulty in urination, this can be served as juices as well as this can be side effects. So this can be used as therapeutic use in the patients who are suffering from increased frequency, urgency, or bedwetting problem, because they do have the side effect of the difficulty in micturition or decreased urinary frequency. So the side effects can be used as therapeutic indication as well. So difficulty in micturition will be there. Similarly, constipation will be there. There will be the relaxation of the muscles that is present in the GIT sphincter. All the sphincters are closed. So there will be the constipation. There will be decrease in peristalsis movement in the GIT. So constipation will be there. So opposite to that of, these are all the things that are just opposite to that of the cholinergic manifestations or the side effects of the acetylcholine and its congener. So continuing with the side effects, the pupil will be dilated, and the dilatation of the pupil is due to the relaxation of the circular muscles or the sphincter pupillae. And due to the dilated pupil or due to the mydriasis, so there will be photophobia, because the pupil is already dilated, and the beam of light that's passed through the eye all will be passed through the eye, and constriction cannot occur because there is already the mydriasis, and there will be the photophobia, or there will be the loss of light effects in that particular patient. And blurring of the near vision will be there because of the cycloplasia, and this will lead patient to see only the far vision or the near vision. So there will be blurring of the near vision, and it occurs as a result of the cycloplasia or the paralysis of the ciliary muscle, and it causes the blockade of the M2 receptors in the heart. This will lead to the tachycardia, and this will lead to the palpitation as well. And in the low dose, when there is overdose of the atropine in the low dose, so there will be the excitement and psychotic behavior, there will be the confusion, there will be the delirium in the patient. And if the this dose exceed very much, this is followed by the CNS depression. So first of all, in the low dose, there will be CNS stimulation, and when this dose is increased, there will be now the CNS depression. So CNS depression is manifested at convulsions, tremor, and the patient will go into the coma. And the side effects of this anticholinergic drug or atropine, which is the prototype drug of this anticholinergic drug, so it can be described as hot as a hair, blind as a bat, dry as a bone, red as a beet, and mad as a hater. So why it is known as hot as a hair? Because it causes the inhibition of the sweating, it causes the blockade of the sweating. So there will be the fever. So hot as a hair, and blind as a bat. So why blind as a bat? Because there is a blurring of the near vision. Patient is not able to see the far vision, and there is the dilated pupil. There is the mydriasis, and due to this, there will be the photophobia. A patient will be phobic to the light. So he or she will be having fear to go and expose with the light. So there will be the photophobia, and since it's known as the blind as a bat, because of both photophobia as well as the cycloplasia, that is the burning of the near vision. And dry as a bone, so there will be decrease in sweating, and all the mucous membrane in the skin will be dry, and so dry as a bone, and red as a beet, because there will be the flushing with the atropinic drugs, and the face will be red, so red as a beet, and mad as a hatter, mad as a hater because of its psychotic behavior. And so the anticholinergic drug or atropine side effects can be described as hot as a hair, blind as a bat, dry as a bone, red as a beet, and mad as a hatter. So continuing with the atropine. So okay, so we come towards the atropine poisoning. So what can be done in the atropine poisoning, or what could be done in atropine overdose? Yes.
Physostigmine.
I think someone is trying to say something. So what is the drug that is given in the atropine poisoning?
Physostigmine.
Okay, physostigmine. So the specific antidote to atropine, it is the physostigmine. So physostigmine poisoning atropine is given as antidote. So, and for atropine poisoning or overdose, physostigmine is given as antidote. So, and the general principles for all the poisoning as the initial measure will be the same. That is, so gastric lavage should be done. It is in order to in order to inhibit the unabsorbed substances, and patients should be kept in quite dark room. So why should this patient should be kept in quite dark room? पेशेन्टलाई डार्क रुममा किन राख्नु पर्यो? Photophobia. So it is in order to inhibit the photophobia, because the patient is suffering from here the photophobia. So light will be passed when the patient is exposed to the light. Light will be passed through the eye, so which can damage the eye. So due to the photophobia, patients should be kept in order to prevent the photophobia. So patients should be kept in the dark and quiet room, and cold sponging or or ice baths should be given, because there is the fever, there is inhibition of sweating which can lead to fever, and to prevent that, cold sponging or ice bags need to be given. And obviously the specific antidote, so kuny poisoning drug or poisoning collides, and usually there is specific antidote. So before giving that specific antidote, we do the general measures which are usually same for all the drug overdose or poisoning. So for this atropine poisoning, physostigmine is the specific antidote. So the doses is 1 to 3 mg subcutaneously or intravenously, which antagonizes both central as well as the peripheral effects. So it is mainly to antagonize the muscarinic effects. And okay, so contraindications. So contraindications of this atropine or atropinic drugs, they are absolutely contraindicated in the individuals who are suffering from the narrow iridocorneal angle, so which can precipitate glaucoma. So glaucoma पनि two different types of glaucoma हुन्छ. So पहिला मैले भनिसके glaucoma छुट्टै chapter हुन्छ लास्टमा on the end of your ANS. So glaucoma is of two types. One is the open angle glaucoma, the other one is the narrow angle glaucoma. यो चाहिँ नि हामी glaucoma गर्दा नै गर्छौं है. So coming to the next contraindication, the causes should be advocated in elderly males with prostatic hypertrophy. So urinary retention can occur. So the patient who are suffering from prostate hypertrophy or prostate hyperplasia, so these patients should not be given the anticholinergic drug or the atropinic drugs, because the prostate hyperplasia only occurs in the male, because prostate is present only in the male. So they are prostatic hyperplasia usually occurs in the old men, and prostatic hyperplasia refers to the increase in mass of the prostate gland. So increase in mass it can compress. So increase in mass of the prostate will be there, and it will now compress the ureters. So there will be difficulty in voiding, difficulty in maturation, difficulty in urination on that particular patient who is suffering from the prostate hyperplasia, because there is increase in mass of the prostate gland, and which will compress the ureter. So ureter but राम्ररी pass हुन पाउँदैन. So there will be difficulty in maturation, there will be difficulty in voiding of urine. अनि anticholinergic drug or atropinic drugs हरु दिँदाखेरि के हुन्छ त one of the side effects of atropinic drugs is already there is a urinary retention. So prostate hyperplasia को patient लाई दिँदाखेरि के हुन्छ त urinary retention अझ exaggerate हुन्छ. So this should be avoided in the patients who are suffering from the prostatic hyperplasia. So this finishes the anticholinergic drug or antimuscarinic drugs or parasympatholitic drugs. So drugs acting on so हामीले चाहिँ antimuscarinic drugs चाहिँ पढ्यौं. So your drugs acting on autonomic ganglia, it's not covered in your, it's not included in your syllabus. So हामी धेरै डिटेलमा डिस्कस गर्दैनौं. So these are obviously the drugs that acts on the autonomic ganglia, and I hope you remember which receptor is present in the autonomic ganglia. So it is the N. So these are the drugs which can either stimulate autonomic ganglia or the NN receptors, or they can block or inhibit this NN receptors. So अर्को चाहिँ nicotinic receptors मा एउटा चाहिँ NN receptors भयो, अर्को चाहिँ NM receptors भयो. So the drugs that acts on NM receptors, so they are basically the skeletal muscle relaxants. So यो चाहिँ तिमीहरुको musculoskeletal system मा चाहिँ डिटेलमा हुन्छ. So for now, so drugs acting on autonomic ganglia or the drugs acting on NN receptors. So यो खासै केही पनि चाहिँदैन हैन. So just to have small information about these drugs only हैन. So the drugs that act on autonomic ganglia can be ganglionic stimulants or they can be ganglionic blocking agents. So NN receptors, so they are present in both the sympathetic as well as the parasympathetic nervous system, so in the autonomic ganglia. So selective nicotine agonist includes the nicotine in smaller doses, so lovelin, dimethylphenylpiperazinium, so varenicline. Non-selective muscarinic agonists, they include the acetylcholine. So these are the group of non-selective muscarinic agonists. These are the group of drugs which can stimulate both muscarinic as well as the nicotinic receptors. Mathiko saine, they stimulates only the NN receptors or the nicotinic receptors, specifically NN receptors. So non-selective muscarinic receptors. So these are the group of drugs which can stimulate both muscarinic as well as the nicotinic receptors, which include the acetylcholine, carbachol, pilocarpine, and anticholinesterase. So these are all the cholinergic drugs. So we read in cholinergic system. And out of all these drugs in selective nicotinic agonist, so the commonly used drugs include this nicotine and varenicline, and they are used as a drug to prevent the smoking cessation. So this nicotine transdermal patch is present, nicotine chewing gum is present. So they can be given in the patient, and as well as the varenicline can be given in the patients who want for smoking cessation. And ganglionic blocking agents include the group of drugs which blocks these NN receptors include the hexamethonium, so mecamylamine, trimethoprim, and nicotine in large doses, and anticholinesterase in the large dose. Nicotine in small dose can stimulate nicotinic receptors, that is NN receptors. Similarly, anticholinesterase in small dose can stimulate NN receptors, but when both these drugs are given in large dose, they can block the ganglionic autonomic ganglia, that is the NN receptors. And out of these drugs, so hexamethonium and mecamylamine and trimethoprim were used previously, so they are of the historical importance in the therapeutic use. They were previously used for the treatment of the hypertension and peptic ulcer, but have been totally replaced by other drugs because of their intolerable side effects and availability of better drugs. So यो चाहिँ नि खासै चाहिँदैन है. So just to have small information only. अनि अर्को चाहिँ नि the drugs that acts on the NM receptors. So यो चाहिँ नि NM receptors मा काम गर्ने भयो. So the drugs that acts on the NM receptors will be discussed in your musculoskeletal class. So this ends the anticholinergic drug. So we'll be starting with the adrenergic drug. So before going to the adrenergic drug, there are some MCQs. Respond to it. A patient is presented in emergency department with the symptoms of tachycardia, hyperthermia, bronchial dilatation, and constipation. The person is most likely to be suffering from atropine, organophosphorus, mushroom or paracetamol poisoning. तो chat box मा लेख्दा हुन्छ है. So patient is presented to the emergency department with this symptom. So person is likely to be suffering from which of the poisoning? So atropine poisoning, OP poisoning, mushroom poisoning, or paracetamol poisoning. So the answer is the atropine poisoning. And this OP poisoning and mushroom poisoning. So paracetamol ta हामी पढेकै छैनौं हैन. So OP poisoning and mushroom poisoning, and they are manifestation of excessive muscarinic manifestations, nicotinic manifestations as well in some cases, as for example in OP poisoning. Whereas at OP poisoning or mushroom poisoning, there is excessive muscarinic receptor stimulation, muscarinic manifestations, whereas in atropine poisoning, there's a blockade of the muscarinic receptors, and the manifestation will just be opposite to that of the OP poisoning and mushroom poisoning. यदि यो अप्सनमा चाहिने यो अप्सनमा चाहिने ब्रेडिकार्डिया, हाइपोथर्मिया, bronchoconstriction, difficulty in breathing, diarrhea भएको भए चाहिने, the answer would be probably OP poisoning or mushroom poisoning. But tachycardia, hypothermia, bronchial dilatation, constipation, so the patient is here mostly likely to be suffering from the atropine poisoning or anticholinergic drug poisoning. So coming to the next MCQ, so oxybutynin act by the nicotine receptor stimulation, mushroom receptor stimulation, muscarinic receptor inhibition, alpha receptor stimulation. Yes. Answers? So other answer. So oxybutynin is anticholinergic drug, and oxybutynin is group of drug which falls under the vesicoselective drug. That means the drugs that only acts on the urinary bladder. And you know, anticholinergic drugs are given when there is increased frequency, increased urgency of the urination. So oxybutynin being an anticholinergic drug, they need to block the urinary frequency as well as the urinary urgency. So they act by this. So these are the psychoselective drugs. They act on the M3 receptors, that is specifically present in the urinary bladder. So they act by muscarinic receptor inhibition, and to be more specific, it acts by M3 receptor inhibition that is present in the urinary bladder. So the answer is C. So coming to the next MCQ, so phenylephrine is preferred over atropine when mydriasis is required without cyclopegia. Cyclopegia is only required when both of them are required, when both of them are not required. Phenylephrine भन्ने चाहिने भएको छैन, it will come under your adrenergic system or adrenergic drug. So answer, if any, you can write in chat box. Any other answer? तिमीहरूको आजदेखि पनि के अरे एमएसके ब्लक पनि सुरु भइसक्यो फार्माकोलोजीमा हैन. Any other answer? So going through these options, so phenylephrine is adrenergic drug, and we'll come to this in adrenergic drugs, adrenergic system. And you know this atropine is anticholinergic drug, and it both causes cycloplasia, that's a paralysis of the ciliary muscle, as well as it causes the mydriasis, that is the dilatation of the pupil. And so overall, it causes overall mydriasis as well as the cycloplasia, this atropinic drugs. Whereas phenylephrine, which is the adrenergic drug, so it only causes mydriasis. It does not cause cycloplasia. Phenylephrine will be doing this in adrenergic class. So phenylephrine only causes mydriasis. It does not causes the cycloplasia. So ciliary muscle manzani, there is presence of M3 receptors, and in the muscles of the iris there is presence of M3 receptors. Whereas a muscle of the iris so there is presence of the alpha 1 receptors, but ciliary muscle ma chahi adrenergic receptors haru hundaina. So for now we'll be doing on that adrenergic drug. So when both of them are required, when both of them are required, so atropine are used. So only if mydriasis is needed or required, then phenylephrine is used, right? So for now, so remember, so phenylephrine is used when mydriasis is only required without cycloplasia. So the C sign option atropinic drugs ko lagi it would have been corrected. So when both of them are required, so it is the atropine. So the answer is A. Okay, this finishes the anticholinergic drugs. So any question in anticholinergic drug, otherwise we'll be moving towards adrenergic drugs.
Can you send us the slide of this anticholinergic drug after this class? Can you send us the slide of this anticholinergic?
मैले स्लाइड त युजुअली दिदैन हैन अब if you want I can send you in PDF. तो बुक चाहिँ नि पढ्नु पर्छ है मैले कोलिनर्जिक सिस्टममा अर कोलिनर्जिक ड्रग्स एजेन्ट्समा दिएको स्लाइड पनि इट्स नट एनफ है बुक चाहिँ यु मस्ट रिफर टु योर बुक ओके सो आज भोलिमा आई विल सेन्ड यु त्यही हो क्वेशन एनी क्वेशन So if not, we'll be moving towards the adrenergic drugs. So starting with the adrenergic drugs. So these are the group of drugs which stimulate or activate the sympathetic system, and you know when the sympathetic system is activated, it is during the flight reaction, fight response, and during the stressed condition. And as said earlier, so the major neurotransmitter for the adrenergic system is the noradrenaline. The cholinergic system it's acetylcholine, and for the adrenergic system it is the noradrenaline. And apart from the non-adrenaline, there are presence of other adrenergic neurotransmitter as well, like epinephrine, which can be also known as adrenaline. And there is presence of other endogenous neurotransmitter like dopamine, but the most important one is the noradrenaline. So the prime function of this adrenergic or the sympathetic nervous system is to help human being to adjust to the stress and prepare the body for flight and fight reactions. I think there is some construction going over here. So in my neighborhood, so you can let me know. So I can switch the room. And as said earlier, norepinephrine, which is also known as noradrenaline, is a major neurotransmitter for the sympathetic nervous system. So apart from the norepinephrine and noradrenaline, there is presence of other neurotransmitter as well in the sympathetic system, which includes the epinephrine, which is also known as adrenaline. And it is secreted by adrenal medulla and in response to the sympathetic activation. And when the sympathetic system is activated, so adrenal medulla mostly produce epinephrine or the adrenaline. And the another neurotransmitters included in sympathetic nervous system is the dopamine, and it is a neurotransmitter in the brain, and it is precursor of both epinephrine as well as the norepinephrine. So epinephrine, norepinephrine भन्नको लागि चाहिँ नि पहिला चाहिँ dopamine is the precursor, right? So dopamine बनिसकेपछि मात्र epinephrine र norepinephrine बन्छ. And all three neurotransmitters, that's adrenaline, non-adrenaline, as well as the dopamine, are endogenous catecholamines, means they are produced and synthesized within the body. So I think you remember this figure, and this figure we have already discussed in our cholinergic system or in the start of your autonomic nervous system. So you can see here, this is the parasympathetic system, and you can see all here is the sympathetic system, and you know the difference between parasympathetic and sympathetic system, the receptors involved in it, the neurotransmitter involved in it. So parasympathetic it's both the acetylcholine in pre as well as post-ganglionic fibers, which activates muscarinic receptors over here in the picture. And coming to the sympathetic nervous system, so you can see here the release of norepinephrine, which is a major neurotransmitter and which activates different adrenergic receptors. Here it involves the alpha and beta receptors, so which can stimulate the cardiac and smooth muscles, gland cells, and nerve terminals. So you can also see here the release of dopamine, and it acts on the dopamine 1 receptors. So we do have the different adrenergic receptors, different dopaminic receptors will come on that. So here there is a release of this picture shows this activation of the sympathetic system, in which there is release of the dopamine, which activates or stimulates the dopamine 1 receptors, which present in the vena vascular smooth muscle or present in the kidney. And coming to the next section, so there is release of epinephrine and norepinephrine. So most commonly from the adrenal medulla, when the sympathetic system is stimulated, there is more release of the epinephrine. So so epinephrine or adrenaline is secreted by adrenal medulla in response to sympathetic activation or stimulation. So release of epinephrine as well as the norepinephrine from the adrenal medulla when sympathetic system is activated. And the exception to this was the exception in the sympathetic system was the sweat glands. So sweat glands in both the preganglionic as well as postganglionic fibers. So acetylcholine receptors, acetylcholine neurotransmitter as released, which acts on the muscarinic receptor. So preganglionic fibers produces the acetylcholine, which acts on the muscarinic receptors, which are present on the sweat gland. So receptors are cholinergic receptors also, but these sweat glands are innervated by the sympathetic nerves, right? So this is the exception of the sweat gland. They are there in the sweat gland. There is presence of the cholinergic receptors, whereas they are adrenergically or sympathetically innervated. So nervous system or sympathetic innervation हुन्छ.
क्लास लागल हम छोड़ा देली देखि त हम केने गेली हम कहि जानू अथी है देखे जाई छी ले
वे क्लास बनाने कौन दी
I think someone was unmuted. So this is the response where this figure is also been discussed in your cholinergic system. So what are the responses? What have responses that are seen when sympathetic nervous system are activated? So it's just opposite to that of the parasympathetic response. So suppose you are being chased by a drug. So what are the responses that you get through? So there will be the dilatation of the pupil in the eye because you need to see the broader vision, you need to see the farther vision. So there is a dilatation of the pupil, and there will be the dilatation of the bronchioles. There will be increase in respiratory rate, and dilatation of the bronchioles is in order to increase the mass or increase the volume of the air that is present in the lungs, so that it will be easier for respiration or breathing. So there will be the dilatation of the pupil, and obviously when you are running, there will be the increase in heart rate, there will be tachycardia, and there is a constriction of the smaller vessels, whereas the larger blood vessels, as for example the blood vessel that is present in the legs or skeletal muscle, skeletal part is increased because you are running, and more of the blood should be flowing towards the legs. So there will be the dilatation of the larger blood vessels, whereas there is constriction of the smaller blood vessels. And all the muscles will be relaxed. Maybe it be the muscle that is present in the GIT stomach or the urinary bladder, and this uterine muscle, whereas the sphincters are relaxed, where the sphincters are closed. So there will be relaxation of the muscles and sphincters are closed. So GIT, it relaxes the smooth muscles of the GIT, and it relaxes the muscle bladder this present muscle that's present in the urinary bladder, and it also relaxes the uterus or the uterine muscle. So these are the responses we get through when the sympathetic nervous system is activated. Yo चाहिँ हामी अलिक पछि चाहिँ डिटेलमा चाहिँ नि will be discussing. Okay, so now, so how this dopamine, how this epinephrine, how this norepinephrine, which are the endogenous neurotransmitter, are released or synthesized within the body. So हामीले यस्तै फिगर cholinergic system मा पनि discuss गरेको थियौं, how the acetylcholine is synthesized within the body or inside the cholinergic neuron. Now we are going towards how the synthesis of this noradrenaline, which is a major neurotransmitter involved in the sympathetic nervous system, releases or synthesized. So tyrosine, in the presence of sodium ion, enters inside the adrenergic neurons. So tyrosine, along with the sodium ion, enters inside the adrenergic neuron, and there occurs the hydroxylation of this tyrosine, that is the addition of hydroxyl group, and there occurs the formation of DOPA, and from the DOPA it gets changed into the dopamine. So tyrosine along with sodium ion goes inside the adrenergic neuron, and there occurs the hydroxylation or the addition of the hydroxyl group in the tyrosine. So there is a formation of the DOPA, and now this DOPA gets changed into dopamine, and dopamine after its formation gets enter into the synaptic vesicle. So dopamine after its formation, after its synthesis, gets stored into the synaptic vesicle. So this dopamine is stored within the synaptic vesicle, where it gets converted into the noradrenaline. So dopamine gets converted into the noradrenaline, and under the influx of the calcium ion, this noradrenaline gets released. So after the release of noradrenaline, this noradrenaline can go to different processes, like acetylcholine went to different processes. So the important ones are, so it stimulates the different receptors that are present in the cells and produces the intracellular response. So after the release of norepinephrine, it can go to various processes. So one of them is it stimulates the adrenergic receptors and produces the intracellular response. So the next process, this norepinephrine can undergo, release norepinephrine can undergo, it can stimulate the presynaptic receptor. So it can stimulate the presynaptic receptor, and these are the postsynaptic receptor. These are the postsynaptic receptor, whereas this is the presynaptic receptor. So noradrenaline or norepinephrine released by psychopathology, so it can act on the postsynaptic receptors or it can act on the presynaptic receptors. And similarly, so acetylcholine enzyme, acetylcholine degradation or metabolism collides, and acetylcholine esterase was the major enzyme that was responsible for degradation or metabolism of acetylcholine. But norepinephrine को लागि चाहिँ there are two enzymes that is responsible for degradation of this norepinephrine, that is the catechol O methyltransferase, which is known as COMT. So it is metabolized to the inactive metabolites by this catechol O methyltransferase and is excreted through the urine. अर्को चाहिँ नि यो norepinephrine अर्को चाहिँ नि केले डिग्रेड गर्छ भन्दाखेरि there is presence of another enzyme which is known as the monoamine oxidase. So both this monoamine oxidase as well as the catechol O methyltransferase is responsible for metabolism of norepinephrine, and the inactive metabolites are now excreted by the urine. अर्को एउटा process this norepinephrine can undergo is, so norepinephrine can be uptaken by this adrenergic neuron, and after its uptake of this norepinephrine, it can again be stored in this synaptic vesicle. So I will be repeating this once again. So tyrosine in the presence of sodium ion goes inside the adrenergic neuron, and hydroxylation occurs where this changes into the DOPA, and DOPA gets changes into the dopamine. Dopamine gets stored into the synaptic vesicle, and in the synaptic vesicle, it gets changed into the major neurotransmitter, that is a norepinephrine. And under the influence of influx of this calcium ion, so this stored norepinephrine gets released, and the released norepinephrine can undergo different processes, like it can act on different postsynaptic receptors and causes the intracellular response. And the other process it can undergo is it can stimulate the presynaptic, the receptors that are present on the presynaptic receptor. And the other response is it can be metabolized by two enzymes, monoamine oxidase or the catechol O methyltransferase. And the other process it can undergo is the some of this released norepinephrine can be reuptaken by this neuron, and the reuptaken norepinephrine will be stored in this synaptic vesicle. So here, so you box ma ke lekhiराखेको छ. So there is the synthesis of epinephrine, norepinephrine from the DOPA, and hydroxylation of tyrosine is the rate limiting step. Rate limiting step means in any chemical reaction, in any chemical process, the slowest step is known as the rate limiting step. And so the hydroxylation of tyrosine is the rate limiting step. And dopamine uptake into storage vesicle. So dopamine enters into the synaptic vesicle. So these all are the same thing. I discuss गरेको जस्तै. So dopamine enters inside the synaptic vesicle where it's converted into the norepinephrine, and norepinephrine is protected from degradation in the synaptic vesicle, and the transport of this norepinephrine in the vesicle is inhibited by drug the reserpine. So the dopamine which gets stored into the synaptic vesicles, so some drugs can inhibit the transport of this dopamine into the synaptic vesicle. So the drug that causes the inhibition of transport of this dopamine into synaptic vesicle is the reserpine. It's detail ma chani चाहिँदैन होला है. So release of neurotransmitter is there after the influx of the calcium, and this causes the fusion of vesicle with the cell membrane. So after the influx of this calcium ion, the synaptic vesicle gets fused with the cell membrane, and which is known as the exocytosis. So release of this neurotransmitter non-adrenaline is known as the exocytosis, and the release is blocked by the another drug which is known as the guanethidine. So reserpine inhibits the transport of dopamine into synaptic vesicles, whereas the guanethidine inhibits the release of norepinephrine. And the next step is the postsynaptic receptor is activated by binding of neurotransmitter, that is the norepinephrine. So norepinephrine can bind to the postsynaptic receptors and causes the intracellular response, and norepinephrine is methylated by COMT and oxidized by the MAO. So these both are the enzyme that is responsible for the metabolism of norepinephrine. And अर्को प्रोसेस के भइराखेको थियो, त्यो norepinephrine चाहिँ भित्र जान सक्थ्यो. अब so released norepinephrine is rapidly taken by the neuron, and some of the drugs inhibits this reuptake, and this includes the serotonin, norepinephrine, reuptake inhibitors, so cocaine, imipramine चाहिँ नि यो reuptake चाहिँ नि inhibit गर्न सक्छ है. So यति डिटेलमा चाहिँ नि अहिले चाहिँदैन. So you need to know the step of this noradrenaline synthesis है. So अहिले चाहिँ नि यो different drugs which acts on different steps. I don't think you need to remember. Continuing with the adrenergic system. So we are now towards the adrenergic receptors. So cholinergic receptors two types ko huन्थ्यो, muscarinic and nicotinic. Similarly, so adrenergic receptors or sympathetic receptors is of two types, alpha and beta. So alpha receptors and beta receptors are two different receptors that are included in the adrenergic or sympathetic system. So alpha receptor subtypes, there are two subtypes of alpha receptors, alpha 1 and alpha 2. So coming to beta subtype receptors, so there are three beta subtype receptors, beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3. So two alpha subtypes and three beta subtypes. So muscarinic ma चाहिँ नि usually चाहिँ नि M1 मा चाहिँ नि so muscarinic मा चाहिँ नि M1 to M5 थियो. So most importantly M1, M2 and M3 and nicotinic मा 2 थियो NN and NN. So we are on the adrenergic receptors. So coming to the alpha receptors, so तेमा पनि alpha 1 subtype. So what are the location of these receptors? So they are most importantly present in the blood vessels. And when these alpha 1 receptors in the blood vessels are activated, what does they do? They causes the vasoconstriction. So vasoconstriction भनेको चाहिँ नि they will constrict the blood vessels. So it will lead to increase in peripheral vascular resistance. So normally, suppose in a pipe 500 ml of blood is flowing and that pipe is constricted, so or contracted. So if the same amount of blood tries to flow like 500 ml like previously, so के हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि अब चाहिँ नि त्यो पाइपमा चाहिँ नि pressure बढ्छ. So pressure of the fluid in that particular pipe is increased. So pressure बढ्छ. अर्को चाहिँ नि के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ नि due to constriction, so there would be resistance to the flow. So similar occurs with the blood vessels as well. So when alpha 1 receptors that are present in the blood vessels are constricted or contracted, so there will be the vasoconstriction. So blood vessels will be smaller in diameter, and if the same amount of blood flows through that blood vessel, constricted blood vessel, there will be increased peripheral vascular resistance. And now increased peripheral vascular resistance will lead to increase in blood pressure. So resistance बढ्छ. So resistance बढ्ने बित्तिकै चाहिँ के हुन्छ त blood pressure will be increased because pressure in the blood is usually detected by the alpha 1 receptor stimulation. And they are also present, alpha 1 receptors are also present in the iris muscle, so which is responsible for contraction or dilatation of the pupil. So अर्को हामीले चाहिँ नि M3 receptors पनि iris मा पाउँछ भनेर पढेको थियौं. So M3 receptors हरु कहाँ पाउँछ? They are present in the circular muscle, they are present in the sphincter pupillae, whereas the alpha 1 receptors is present in another group of muscle, that is the dilator pupillae or the radial muscle. So what does it do? So when this alpha 1 receptors that are present in the muscle of the iris is stimulated, so that is the dilator pupillae or the radial muscle. So what does it do? It causes the mydriasis. So mydriasis occurs as a result of contraction of the radial muscle or the dilator pupillae. So you can see here the mydriasis occurring or the dilatation of the pupil occurring via the use of two different group of drugs. यसमा चाहिँ नि हामीले अस्ति के पढ्यो, mydriasis चाहिँ नि anticholinergic drug or atropinic drug or antimuscarinic drug ले पनि हुन्छ, but it occurs as a relaxation of the sphincter pupillae. And mydriasis of pupil also occurs as a result of contraction of another group of muscle, that is the dilator pupillae or the radial muscle. Okay, so it causes the mydriasis or the dilatation of the muscle by the contraction of the dilator pupillae or the radial muscle. And this alpha 1 receptors are also present in the smooth muscle in the gastrointestinal tract or genitourinary tract. So it causes the sphincter contraction, closure of the sphincter, and whereas the relaxation of the muscles. And when it occurs in the GIT, it causes the constipation, and when it occurs in the urinary bladder, it causes the urinary retention. So the transducer pathway involved in alpha-1 receptor stimulation includes the GQ coupled, and there is increase in second messenger, that is the IP3 and DAG. So I'll be ending here for today. Please, so while coming in next class, boli nahi sa. So your adrenergic receptors or types of adrenergic receptors and its function or उसने पढ़े रहा हुआ है. So any question for today's?